Hello, my lovely anatomists. Thank you for joining me for the last of our instructional videos on the reproductive system. We do have some structures that show up best on diagrams. So let us get started. All right, to continue our conversation of reproductive system, we're taking a look first at this cross-sectional cut of the anatomy of the scrotum and the testes. So let's take a look first on the outside. So here we see our scrotal skin. And I'm just checking my list to see if that's actually something that we label. We don't have to do that. So here we have our skin. And then right here, we see the dartus muscle. And then kind of lining the inside of the scrotal sac, but also the very outside layer of the testes, we have the tunica vaginalis. And then innermost to that, we have the tunica albicans. Oh, excuse me, albuginea. That then is forming these different septums. So kind of dividing up the testes into lobules. And these divisions here are described as septa, testis. And so then each one of these inside would be considered a lobule. The lobules then are full of the seminiferous tubules. So we're seeing that throughout the entire testes there. They come together here to form what's called the rete testis. The rete testis then has an efferent ductule. That takes the sperm cells to the epididymis, which is of course that structure that's, we can see it right here sitting on top of the testes. This is the location for sperm maturation. In this picture over here, we're also able to see that testicular artery. We're able to see the vas deferens or ductus deferens. And we can see that entire, all that structure, so the nerve, the blood vessels, the vas deferens, is all going from the pelvic cavity into the scrotal area. And so this kind of opening that's taking you from the pelvic cavity down into that scrotal sac is called the inguinal canal. Over here, again, we're seeing the skin as that outer layer. The dartus muscle would be somewhere like in here, although I don't think it's emphasized very well on that model, on that diagram. This muscle that we can see right here is called the cremaster muscle. And then we have also showing on both sides the inguinal ligament here. As we move on to structures in the female body, we can take a look here to see the uterus structures maybe a little bit better. So here we're seeing the fundus, which is that rounded portion of the uterus. So this whole organ here is, of course, the uterus, and we would label this part here the cervix. What we're seeing here is that broad ligament a little bit showing out a little bit better. We're seeing here, of course, the ovary, holding the ovary in place. We have both the ovarian ligament and we have the suspensory ligament. In this view, you can really see our oviduct or fallopian tube. We can see those finger-like projections called fimbriae. We can see there's a enlarged part called the ampulla, and we can see where the oviduct connects in close to the uterus as the isthmus. Holding the uterus in place, we have that broad ligament that we've already labeled, and we can also see the round ligament. This ligament that's visible here should be that suspensory ligament that is holding the ovary in place. This opening here, remember, is that external os of the cervix. This is the vagina. This space up here is the fornix. You can see those rugae. In this picture down here, we can see the ligaments anchoring the uterus. So we have round ligaments. And we have uterosacral ligaments. Here's the ovary. And so here we can see the ovarian ligament. And then, of course, the suspensory ligament. To finish up here, let's take a look at our breast tissue. So we're able to see this darkened area making a circle around the nipple as the areola, and then the nipple. As we look at the breast, we can see we have these individual sacs called secretory alveoli. So this is going to be where the breast tissue, where the milk is being produced. And we can see that the alveoli make a collection that we can call a lobule. We see each alveoli has a lactiferous duct. And the lactiferous duct feeds into the lactiferous sinus. And then the lactiferous sinus is emptying into the nipple. Notice that you have many different lactiferous sinuses, and so the nipple is not just like one opening, you have lots of small holes there at the nipple. Also helping to support this tissue, we have suspensory ligaments. Notice that a big portion of the breast tissue is adipose. And we have lobes in the structure sheet, but I don't think we have like a really nicely defined lobe to label. So I think I'm going to skip that. Okay, that's it for our instruction. Please stay tuned for your practice. And as always, take care of yourselves and each other.